Today we have very interesting theme. We suggest you to work in the quilling technique, in other words, to get acquainted with it and to create some non-difficult works. This technique, also called as paper twisting or paper filigree. All these terms are united by the art of making of flat or volume compositions from coil long and narrow strips of a paper. We very much hope that our advices and recommendations will be useful to you and you will like this kind of creativity. Hello, my name is Natasha Fochtina and I'm glad as always to welcome you in our studio. Today we have the most interesting lesson. We will be engaged in paper twisting or quilling. Quill is translated from English as bird feather. All these terms are united by one kind of creativity. In other words, this is the name of one art on manufacturing of flat or volume compositions from coil long and narrow strips of a paper. From paper spirals create flowers and patterns, which then use, as a rule, for decoration of cards, albums, gift packings and photo frames. This art has come to Russia, as well as in other countries, from Korea. Quilling, also called as paper filigree. It's simple and very beautiful kind of needlework, which isn't demanding the large costs. And, by the way, if to get certain skills in this kind of creativity, the product from paper tapes can be used also as a wall decoration or even costume jewelry. By the way, if to look at the historical reference, it's considered that the art of paper twisting has arisen in medieval Europe. However, there is also other information that it has arisen in the Near East and in ancient Egypt, where nuns create medallions, frames for icons, and covers for books, twisting on a tip of the bird's feather paper strips with the gilt edges that created imitation of a gold miniature. By the way, it's a wonderful decorative find, especially actual for decorations of the poor churches. In the 15th-16th century, quilling was considered as an art. In 19th century, as ladies' entertainment and almost unique needlework worthy of noble ladies. The most part of 20th centuries, it has been forgotten and only in the end of last century, quilling again has become art. In England, the Princess Elizabeth seriously was fond of quilling art, and many her creations are stored in Victoria and Albert's Museum in London. The Korean school of quilling, where it named paper twisting, a little differs from the European. Modern European works, as a rule, consist of a small number of details. They are laconic, remind mosaics with which, as I already spoke, frequently decorate cards and frameworks. East masters create difficult products more similar to masterpieces of jewelry art. The superfine volume lace is weaved from hundreds small parts. In any kind of creativity, there are such that local flavor, customs, and perception of the world as a whole change the coloristic and thematic orientation of works. And the technology also changed from it. For example, in Europe, for twisting of strips, use a plastic or metal core with a cut on the end. Some make the similar tool by themselves. For example, from a core for a pen. In this case, at twisting, you have the detail with two large and rough apertures in the center, though children can be offered and such variant. The masters of East School prefer to do a twisting using the thin awl. Thus, the paper tip slips and it takes very good skill to fix it and to roll a dense coil. I noticed that similarity of such tool can be made of a thick needle and a stopper. I am more aware to work such awl for filling. After all, making a coil on it, there won't be practically any apertures in its center, and it looks more accurately and fine. Also, for paper twisting, there are such rules with apertures of the different diameter, allowing to create elements of preciously set size. For this purpose, the coils are put in a ruler aperture, released and fixed by means of glue. Also, for this work, use the tweezers for exact fastening of details on base, scissors, white glue, and the most important thing that it has been poured in a bottle with a small aperture hole, that it will be easy to control the quantity of glue. The paper is the main material. The paper of various thickness painted so that both sides and cut look equally is used for quilling. Though sometimes to a cut special gives the other color. Sets of the ready cut strips of a paper for quilling can be multicolored, a mix and a monophonic, and they can be bought in special shops. If there is no such possibility, it's possible to cut a strip independently. The width of strips for quilling is usually from 1 to 15 mm and length is from 15 to 60 centimeters. Often, in the course of work, the strips for quilling cut on parts, if you need a short one, or stick together if that is demanded by the size of a detail. Sometimes masters gather the strips of different colors for creation of multicolored spirals. Special strips for quilling can be the most different colors and tints: white, black, color, shining, and nacreous, with color gradually changing on length, with a double toning. One part is more light and then another. Also, these paper strips have the right side and the wrong side, but you can define it only visually when take them in hands. So, I suggest you to look today how to create the elementary works in this technique. So, today we begin with making here such decorative thing for an interior decoration. It's the ceramic tile decorated with tulips. I noticed that instead of a tile, you can take a base for a postcard, if you need the original gift on birthday for someone from your friends. We take strips of a paper for quilling of 3 colors: white, dark blue and yellow. The width of strips should be 5 mm. This width I recommend to beginning masters, as it's very difficult to work with more thin paper tapes. We form of tapes on the awl such coils and put them to a ruler. We spread the coil in a spiral and fix it with white glue, that it won't spread further. Look how I do it. I take the awl and wind on it a paper strip. Put it to a ruler, spread it, and glue a corner. As a result, we have such detail for a tulip. To make tulips, we need to make such 9 coils of identical diameter. In other words, we should have on 3 pieces of identical color. We put these details aside and take green strips. We will make of them stalks and leaves of flowers. For stalks, we need the halves of paper tapes, which we put half and half and stick together, leaving from above a piece in 1 centimeter. We cut off the edges not stuck together by scissors angularly, and thus we need to make 9 stalks. We put aside stalks and take coils which we have already rolled. We need to make tulips of them. We take one coil in the right hand, if you are the right-handed person, between fingers here and so, and we press on the coil by the left hand by the awl from the top, and by fingers we make a big round needle. The head of a tulip is ready. Now we can take the stalks, smear them with glue, and we glue in them tulips' buds, beaks upwards. As a result, we have wonderful flowers on the stem. Further, we need to make leaves. To roll the big leaf, we need to stick together some green strips. For example, the big leaf consists of 3 strips, the middle of 2 and small of 1. We do it without the awl, and here so simply we roll them manually, forming the loops that one was hardly above than another. In the end, we press the opposite side of the leaf in sharp angle and put glue on the base to fix all design. After all details of our flower will be ready, we need only to gather them on one base. If I had a paper card, I would glue the details on white glue, but we can't do it with a ceramic tile. Therefore, I take glue and pistol, and on drops of hot glue I gather all bouquet. At first 3 circles of flowers, then leaves, and in the end I cover with the pieces of a moss the bouquet base. A moss we glue using the white glue, and when it will dry up and becomes transparent, our tile with tulips will be ready to decorate any interior. And this flower you should like necessarily, and it makes very simple. There are the variants of more difficult flowers, and they look more naturalistically as technologically they make more masterly and subtly, and also slightly other materials are used. For example, it's possible to make the leaves at such flowers of a handmade paper, which is called handy. But as today we have the first program about quilling, I will show you the most elementary method of a flower on the stem. So, we need for work paper strips of 3 colors, 2 yellow strips in width of 1 centimeter, 5 green with 0.5 centimeters, and 7 white strips also in the width of 0.5 centimeters. Also, we need the wire, white glue, scissors, and all for quilling. And in the end of the work, we will need the glutinous pistol to gather a flower. We begin our work. We take white strips of a paper and form of them using the all coils. By means of a ruler, we choose the size of spirals and fix them by glue. Further, we need to form from these spirals petals. We make it so. We press a coil from 2 sides and get here such form of an eye. We should have 7 eyes. Now we can take yellow strips to make of them the flower middle. We need to cut them using the scissors, that there will be a fringe for tiers of their width. To tell the truth, it can be made for the first time. One incorrect movement by scissors and the strip is cut on 2. The masters have found the way to avoid it. You can cut out a strip limiter from a thick cardboard, fold it in half, and cover with it here so tiers of yellow strips. Now you can cut safely a fringe without being afraid to spoil something. I stick together 2 cut strips and roll them in a coil on a needle for quilling. Then I press through the coil base from within that it became roundish from the top, and I pour to hole some glue to fix the form. Further, I take green strips and make of them 2 leaves for a flower, and that they will look more interesting here, so I fold down their top ends. And we can pass to making the stem of the flower. For this purpose, we need to take a wire and wind it with a strip of a green paper. From the top on the stem, it's necessary to make a platform for a flower. In other words, we need to wind directly on a wire 1 green coil, fix it using the glue, and pass to flower assemblage. As we have 1 flower, and it's supposed that it will be possible to put in or place it somewhere, it should be strong enough, therefore I gather it on hot glue. At first, I take a yellow coil and fluff it up, that we will have from it the fluffy dandelion. I fix here such ice petals to it from the bottom. Wait when glue on petals will cool down, and drip on it one side hot glue and put there the stem with the coil platform. And we need to fasten 2 leaves, that the flower will be ready. I think that today I have told you enough about quilling to decide for yourself, do you like this kind of creativity or not. We have made two very simple and, in my opinion, very nice things. Therefore, I'm sure that you necessarily will try to repeat something from offered independently, especially you won't have any problems with materials for this kind of creativity. For example, you can cut the strips from a color bilateral paper, for example office. The main thing that this paper have any thickness to keep the form, and it's easier to cut it on a metal ruler by a model knife for width of strips to begin with 5 mm. About the tool for twisting, I've already told you. It's possible to buy the special device. It's possible to find the all for papers and twisting. It's possible to make it independently of a needle. And it's possible to use an ordinary toothpick is a remarkable tool for twisting of a paper for beginners and for work with children. The main thing that the technique of coil making will not change from what tool you will work. We simply take and wind a tight coil on the tool and glue to it a tip. This is a base element of quilling, a tight coil. And today we basically use such element as a free coil. We allow to it to unroll on a ruler and already then fixed a tip by glue. And also, we have mastered the form of an eye and have made the tulip. And also, we learn much about quilling in the following program. I promise it to you. And I say goodbye to you to new ideas. With you, there was Natasha Fokhtina. Good luck and goodbye.